off so it's not so noisy. Welcome. We're live on this Friday night. Friday night, September 1st. Look at that. It's a busy day for me. I've been gone all day. Got home earlier. Not a good day to be traveling on Labor Day weekend on a Friday. Everybody out of the city comes up here where I live, and it was not bad going down to the city, but coming back, wow, it was so much traffic. I can't believe it. Can't believe how many people come up here on one weekend. But anyway, but still not a bad trip. Got everything done I needed to do. A lot of running today, and anyway, good to go. All right, so let me see. So it says Friday night open chat, and I would put up a link if anybody wants to come in and chat. Move it a little bit. So yeah, you'd have to ask for the link though, because I used to just put the link up there, but then I don't know, you wouldn't believe the stuff we've seen. Come on here. Yeah, even people threatening to kill us, and me, mostly me. I've seen a lot of people have threatened to kill me since I've started, and I've done way over 2,000 live streams, maybe 2,500, I don't know. But it's been a while though since anyone's threatened to kill me, so hopefully that won't happen anymore. When I first came on, man, it's bad. Back in 2017, I started doing live streams, and man, I had a lot of death threats. It was crazy back then. Now it's much different. The censorship is through the roof. It's not like it used to be. It used to be able to say anything you want, but now the censorship is through the roof, and I think they got better ways to catch like people that threaten other people. Anyway, so I don't know. I think it still happens, but oh man. All right. So I hope y'all had a wonderful Friday. And oh, if anybody wants to play Bible Jeopardy, I'd be up for a round. And if nobody comes in, I'll play it by myself. And you can play along at home, because I will always have it on the screen and read out the questions, and you can test your Bible knowledge. We used to play Bible trivia for years, every Friday night. And I used to give out fake prizes. And anyway, it was fun. So anyway, so that is the plan, Stan. Tomorrow night we're gonna do. Okay, so tonight's just open chat. Tomorrow night and Sunday night we're going to. I've got two things planned. One for tomorrow, one for Sunday. So anyway, that's what is tomorrow? Let me see. Let me pull this up. I have it bookmarked. Anyway, first day of September. Oh, I hate to see summer going so fast. I just see. So yeah, so I was listening to some people that were doing a live stream. Well, remember I said I watched somebody on YouTube. Well, I just listened to the live streams. He's always got a lot of interesting people that come up. And anyway, he's in Mayo, Florida, and he got hit bad right in the biggest path of the hurricane. And roof flew off. Big part of his roof flew off, and a giant tree crashed over his house and stuck through the roof twice. And he's got those sawed off. So anyway, there's no power in Mayo, Florida anywhere. I don't know. There's a lot of people out of power. And the whole area, he drove all over today looking for a generator for about $300, and they're all sold out. He said there was some generators, but they're all like 800 and up, 1200, 1300. So expensive generators are still around, but not something that'll just get you by. And for $300, they're all sold out. He went to store to store. Soonest they can have one delivered is the 12th of September. That's well. Somebody in the chat said, so FEMA's helping out the government or whatever, and so anyway, so in Mayo, Florida, you could go to Walmart and take showers at Walmart. Did you know that? In Mayo, Florida, or wherever he is down there. I don't know if that town has a Walmart, but the one close to him. He said they're offering, so Walmart has, in around Mayo, Florida, wherever he is, Walmart has like half of their parking lot blocked off, and they set up showers and phone charging stations. Actually, it reminded me of the concentration camps. You know why? Not just because there's showers, but Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, worked for the government, and he designed concentration camps. And do you ever notice a Walmart looks like a concentration camp? And he always made the concentration camps within footsteps of a railroad track. And I've noticed that every Walmart I've gone to is within foots of like you could bring somebody up on trains, people on trains, and get them off the trains and walk on foot to a Walmart. Anyway, that's how he designed his concentration camps. And I noticed the one that went up. I lived in Badness Heights. That was my first house back in the 90s, and they put a Walmart up there right next to the railroad tracks. It looked like a concentration camp. Anyway, but Walmart has in Florida has, because for the hurricane people, because they're all out of power. Nobody has food. There's damage everywhere. There's trees everywhere. So far, they're like just taking skid loaders and just pushing them out, the trees out of the way so people can get through. But the Walmarts have set up showers in the parking lot, and free showers and phone charging stations. And he said the government gave them, it's him and his wife, and the government gave him 2 gallons of water and 2 MREs, the ready, MREs, meals that are ready to eat, the ones in the foil pack, you add water. Anyway, so that's what they got. But somebody warned they don't know how long the power is going to be out. Could be definitely probably going to be days. Hopefully not weeks. But so they're trying to get a generator. No go. They're sold out everywhere. That's not a good time to get your emergency supplies right after hurricane hits. And I always hope that gets people ready for the next time, because there probably is going to be a next time. At least when your power goes out. Maybe next time you get a generator when you're not in a panic, and get one at a good deal. I got one at a good deal. I got one half price from Cabela's. I can't remember. I think it was Cabela's. I got a half price because I wasn't in no hurry. And so yeah, I got like a $600 something generator for $300. And because I just wanted it for someday, and I still haven't used it. But yeah, get one when there's not a panic, and you can get a really good deal on it, and you won't be sorry. If I ever need it, I have it. and all of the other stuff, the water and stuff. I don't suggest anybody stack up, years worth of food or anything like that. Is ridiculous. That stuff, I did it back in 2016. The stuff by 2018, it was all expired. Canned food goes fast, maybe like a year and a half. Depends what it is. And water. I learned when I moved up here and I bought this house, and I got a well here, and at one point the pump went, or the well, I think it was a pump or something, kept anyway, something didn't work, so I had to have that fixed. And I went, I don't know, several days without water, and I'll tell you, water doesn't go very far. Hey, how you doing tonight? How's your daughter? Is everything, or how's your family there? Because I do know South Carolina, I think, got some damage and stuff. But Mayo, Florida is out of power, and all the area around there. Tens of thousands of people are out of power for who knows how long, and it's hot. He said it rained today. It's really hard, so they had to shut the windows, and it got even hotter. They're doing okay. That's good. That's good. Yeah, man, that did a lot of damage. They were talking of their somebody asked what was, because after a hurricane, I mean, there's stuff for miles people's stuff gets thrown for miles, and the two people that lived in Florida, they said, what was the weirdest thing you ever found after a hurricane? And one guy said, well, I saw a pine needle sticking into a tree, a pine needle sticking through a tree, like into a tree. And the other guy said he found a little tin with some gold teeth. Somebody's gold teeth. Anyway, but yeah, because we've had in Minnesota, obviously we don't have hurricanes, but we do have tornadoes on occasion, and I've seen the aftermath of tornado, and there's stuff in the trees. I'll tell you the weirdest thing I ever heard after the tornado. In Stillwater, Minnesota, we went, my husband and I at the time, and my kids, me and my family, we went out to see the Stillwater tornado, which wasn't far from where we lived in Stillwater, Minnesota. It's the oldest town in Minnesota from where the settlers were. Anyway, they had a bad tornado. It just went totally diagonal, and it was so weird because it was like really hilly areas and really expensive homes all over the place. And it made a path, and it was so weird because it hit one home and completely missed the next and hit the other. Just in the way that the hills were and stuff, it was crazy. But there was like insulation, everything in the trees everywhere. And on the radio, they said they were trying to get a horse out of the tree. There was a horse that was stuck in a tree, and it was fine. They got him out. But the horse was in the tree, and the fire department was trying to get a horse out of the tree. But he was going to be okay. But yeah, crazy. So I've seen the aftermath of the tornado, but hurricane's probably worse because I think hurricane covers so much, you know what I mean? It keeps going and going and going. So, I mean, a tornado has a path, cuts a path, you know what I mean? And it might be even a mile wide or half a mile wide, but anyway. Met a friend for tea at a new tea place. We had brown sugar matcha tea. Matcha tea. It had milk in it. Delicious. Told my sister she and I need to go there sometime. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what they do in I think that's what they do in England. Some other country they put milk in their tea. And in America it seems weird, but I can't remember. It's the UK. We need Molly to answer the UK question. They have tea a lot over there. They call it a cuppa. I got to get a cuppa. I think that means some tea. Horse in a tree, yes. And they're getting him out and he was going to be okay. But yeah, the horse was in the tree, still alive. Yeah. Yeah, that was in Stillwater, Oakdale. It cut a path. Yeah, me and my husband and two kids, we went out driving. We went out there just to see the damage. It was crazy. Man, it went such a straight line. I mean, but yeah, so one guy's house is wiped out, and then the other one, and you know, it's weird. It was the ones on the hills were wiped out, and the guy that was down the valley, he was okay. It was crazy, man. A little pricey, but nice for a treat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not bad if you go there once in a while. Yeah, yeah. So they put yeah, they put milk and tea, which would give it a completely different flavor. You know, I stopped drinking coffee back in 2016, and when I moved up here 5 years ago, I was thought, you know what, I'm gonna try some tea. I think I would like tea, especially in the winter. I want something hot, and I don't want to go back to coffee or anything like that. But and I don't do caffeine. I don't want any caffeine, so I got decaf tea. I think I told you guys. I had some decaf tea, 1 cup, and it was good. It was like it was so good. It was like raspberry. It was like berries, you know what I mean? Like hot berry tea. It was like berries, like raspberry. I didn't know it was so good. And man, decaf my ass. I couldn't even sleep that night. I was up to the next day. That caffeine. I'm like, dang. Anyway, yeah. So something says decaf. They can't take the. They cannot take the caffeine out of anything all the way. There's no way to remove it all. So if something says decaf, don't believe it. Check into it. They can't. They can remove like 95 or 98%, but they can't remove it all. And I don't even believe they're removing that much. Because how could I be up all night from that? I was so mad. I needed to sleep. And not good. Anyway, but I'd like to. Maybe if I had it in the morning, it wouldn't be like that. Need to check something. All right. D will be right back. Yeah, so I just hope people that were in the storm, I hope they get their power back soon. Uh, I don't know. And then I always hope people get ready for the next time. And I mean, get something ready. A little generator for $300. Get one that you don't need to power the whole house. You just need to have a fan, maybe, because usually this happens in the summer when it's hot. But something to power a fan, a light, and maybe keep your refrigerator going. You know, so your food don't rot. Lifesaver, and charge your phone. I mean, all the all the necessities. Charging your phone is a necessity. Anyway, yeah. In fact, that guy that was doing live stream in Florida with no power, he keeps going out to his vehicle and sitting in it doing the air conditioning because it's the only way to get cool. It's pretty hot down there. But anyway, I'm gonna warm up a cup of tea. Nope, I'm gonna warm up a bottle of Jeopardy here. So yeah, so the next 2 nights, I think tomorrow night, yeah, let's see. We're gonna go over since we just did Noah's flood. We're going to tomorrow we're gonna go over the different flood stories in different different what areas, different civilizations. What would you call it? Anyway, like Mesopotamia, Mesopotamia, whatever you want to call it. Mesopotamia and Babylon, and anyway, things older than the Bible. That story's been around forever. Told before Genesis told it. In fact, Genesis was going off the other ones. We kind of touched on that the other day. So, anyway, so I got a Bible Jeopardy up and ready to go. I'm just gonna. I'm not sure how long D will be gone. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, go ahead. It covered my screen with a commercial. Or something. All right. So, anyway, when D comes back, should I wait for her to come back? I don't know how long she'll be gone, but I am going to show you the Bible Jeopardy categories. Drum roll. Yeah, so I can't believe it's September already. Summer went fast. I'm going to do a end of summer garden video. See my cat outside with a strange cat, and I thought they were fighting, but I guess they're playing. But I thought it was going to be a cat fight, but I guess they're playing. My cat he's gone for days in the cold snow and in the winter. And I thought he was gone. And I thought something got him. And I don't know if it's a week, maybe 5 days, I can't remember, but it was just to the point where I figured he's probably not coming back. Just then we got up and I saw him coming up the driveway limping on 3 legs. He couldn't even walk on one of them. Something happened to his left front foot, and it looked like his eye got poked out. He had something wrong with his eye. It looked like it got poked out. I tried to open his eye, and it was just, anyway. Oh, we just were so happy to see him. The dogs were happy, and we just warmed him up and got him something to eat. I don't know where he was all that time, but he got beat up bad. I don't know if it was the animal got him or another cat, wild animal or another cat. I don't know. But whatever it is, look like his eye was poked out. That was 6 months ago, and his eye is just starting to open now, and his eye is still there. I don't think he can see out of it. Anyway, and he can walk on his foot again. But yeah, he barely made it home. He was hopping and lifting, yeah, like near death when he came back. It's crazy. I was praying for him, and he did come back. Praise God. Anyway, so here's the categories. God is good. I tell you, I had 2 cats that left out in a snowstorm, and yeah, prayed and fasted, and they came back. Actually, I thought I just got a glass of water, a big tumbler. It might be gone, but anyway, I can't believe I drank that already. All right, give me a second. I'm gonna grab some water, and if she's not back, I'm gonna start the Bible Jeopardy. You can look at the categories. Bible Trivia, Bible Jeopardy. Here is the categories. And I'll probably start at the top. That's interesting. The second one, Exodus and wilderness wandering. Was it 40 years or was it 43 years? Huh? Anyway, they can try to explain that, huh? All right, 400 in Egypt or 430? $400 in captivity or 430? That should do it. I seem like I just did this. I just filled up this cup, and it's a big giant tumbler too. All right. All right. So let's start, shall we? And when Dee comes back, she can just join in. Dee is very good at Bible Jeopardy, and so is Grace. And it's fun to play. All right. So I'm going to go with the first category up on top, letter. Uh-oh. We got pop-up ads. That one came from the left. All right. It was like whack-a-mole kind of ad. All right. Letters, epistles to the churches and believers. Uh-oh, we're going straight into Paul. I'm getting rusty on Paul because I've been doing so much other stuff. But we're going to go for it. All right. All right, Paul. What do you got to say for 200? Oh, what just happened? Okay. Squirmed around on me a little bit. All right. For 200 points or dollars. If I bestow all my goods to feed the poor and give my body to be burned, body to be burned, but have not love, what does it profit me? Body burned. If I bestow all my goods, I can deduct charity from my taxes. If I gotta read this because I don't remember if somebody's giving up your body to be burned. That's a human sacrifice. That's like Burning Man kind of stuff. I think Burning Man's going on right now. I heard some protesters block the road going into Burning Man. Not sure really. All right. If I bestow all my goods to feed the poor and give my body to be burned, but have not love, what does it profit me? Well, I can deduct charities from my taxes. Ding. God will be extremely impressed with me. Ding. These things will not profit me without love, and everybody will see that I'm very religious. Actually, this is, some people would actually answer this. Some people would definitely answer that one, and that one, but it is actually this one. These things will not profit me without love. Is that true? Let's see if it is correct. Ding, 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 ding. It is correct. Yes. And I think that's where they get beat around the bush. The faith without works is dead, which everybody takes and runs with. That they don't have to do anything because faith without works is dead. All right. Actually, no, they'd be the opposite. That's where they oh, I don't miss that. I don't miss that. Where they would have debates whether you have to have works or not. What is going on here? I'm being like besieged from everywhere. Is this thing malfunctioning? All right. This thing keeps popping up. I think, hold on a second. I'm getting distracted by this thing because if it squeezes it too tight, then it starts to malfunction. Let's see if that'll work. Should be all right. Hang in there. I forgot what I was talking about. That's all right. We'll keep going. Yeah, this thing, because now it's just ready to fall off. But anyway, try not to be distracted. All right. Paul's letters for 400. Bam. Paul's advice for the younger widows was never seek remarriage. No, that comes for different lessons. Yeah. Remarry, have children, wax wanton against Christ. I think it's remarry and remain childless because Paul was anti-children and anti-marriage for the most part. Paul wasn't really for marriage or children. I know that they say now, I don't know about Paul, but the Jewish people, well, I'm not even going to say Jewish, but I'm going to say in the Old Testament or the Hebrew Bible, the younger widows are supposed to remarry. Well, actually, not even the brother is supposed to make sure that his wife he left behind has children in his name. Let's see, never seek marriage. Younger widow, I'm going to have to say wax wonton. I just bought some cream cheese wontons today. Well, I didn't buy cream cheese wontons. I bought the wonton wraps, a block of cream cheese, and some sweet chili sauce. Oh my goodness, so good. Anyway, enough about the wontons. I think it's remarry but remain childless. I don't know. Like I said, I'm rusty on Paul. And Paul goes back and forth on what he thinks and what he says. So yeah, I don't know. Cream cheese wontons? And is it cream cheese wontons? Didn't I? Is that not what I put? Remarry and have children. Oh, okay. So I knew it was remarry, but it's remarry and have children, not remarry and don't have children. You know what, though? That goes against Jewish law, and Paul's supposed to be a Pharisee, right? And I don't say he was, but he's not anymore, because I hear people say that. No way. He's still a Pharisee. Well, he was till he died. Because you don't say he stopped being a Pharisee. It drives me nuts when people say, oh, Paul met Jesus on the road to Damascus, and he changed his life, and he stopped being a Pharisee. No, he didn't. He never stopped being a Pharisee. Right up to the end in the book of Romans, the last book he wrote, as he's getting sent off to Rome, he's writing this letter to them ahead of time because he's on his way, because he's going to go to trial, probably maybe face death, to be tried in Rome. And last we hear, he's living in a rented house. And he's still a Pharisee. Because at his trial, the last we heard, he stood up in a court and said to the, Sanhedrin or wherever he's in Jerusalem, and he's going to be tried or whatever. And they say, he says, what does he say? Your Honor, whoever he's talking to, he says, I am a Pharisee. I am a son of a Pharisee. I'm a Pharisee of Pharisees. That's the last we heard of Paul, and then he went off to Rome. Bye. Wait a minute. He's still a Pharisee. He's a Pharisee and a Pharisee of Pharisees. His dad's a Pharisee and he's a Pharisee, and he's a Pharisee of Pharisees. Sounds like he's still a Pharisee. And that wasn't his first book. It was the last one. Last we heard of him. Anyway, let's just move on. See, Paul annoys me. That's why I've not been around him for a while. I've removed myself from Paul. Anyway, letters, epistles to the churches and believers. All right. We should go back into Paul because, no, I just said he annoys me. I'm not going to do that. Anyway, he's kind of fun. It is kind of fun. Because like I said, one day he says, I do not lie. And then the next day he says, okay, sometimes I lie, but it's to advance the kingdom of God. Like, wait a minute, you just said you don't lie. Now you say you do lie, but you lie when in special circumstances. Anyway, who resisted, this is for 600 points or dollars if you're a gambler. Who resisted Peter at Antioch and withstood him to the face? I know who this is. Ding, 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 it's Paul. And no, who resisted? You know what? Again, this is so annoying. Do I even want to go into this? Because I already feel myself getting annoyed. All right, anyway, it's Paul. We know it's Paul. Because, it really bugs me when people root Paul on. Yeah, Paul, you tell him. You tell Peter. Tell Peter he put him in his place. Wait a minute. Paul, who claims he met Jesus on the road to Damascus in a vision or whatever, who never really met him never met him in his life. He's telling Peter how it's going to be. Peter, the one, who lived with Jesus and, spent either 3.5 years or 1 year, depending on what gospel you read. Because most people, like I said, whenever there's two stories, everybody goes with one story. You know what story everybody goes with? John. People say, Jesus' ministry was 3.5 years. Well, that's funny because that's only in John, and that's the last one. But the synoptic gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, were written first. Those three who were written decades first, like, let me see, 70, probably 50 years earlier. Matthew, Mark, and Luke, written first, who are kind of on the same page. They all agree one thing, that it was 1 year. Jesus had a 1 year ministry, and they go through the 1 year ministry. It goes from Passover all the way, into the fall, into the next spring. Besides the nativity part, besides the, Matthew and Luke have the part where Jesus, it's called the nativity, where, Mary's pregnant and then the baby's born, and then, whatever, a couple things. And then, but Mark, the original, and John, the follow-up, neither one of them covered Jesus' birth or anything like that. But most people go by John. Like Matthew, Mark, Luke shows you a 1 year ministry with Jesus, with his disciples before he's put to death. But John, I just thought of this. He's Johnny Come Lately. Johnny Come Lately, who writes his at the turn of the next century. It's not John the disciple, by the way. But this John Doe, you could call him, whoever John is writing at the turn of the 1st and 2nd century. He says it's 3 years because he goes from he can go from Passover to the fall feast, to the spring feast, to the fall feast, to the spring feast, fall feast, and then he's killed in the spring at Passover. So you can see that's 3.5 years. He started in the fall. Yeah, he starts in the fall, in the feast of Tabernacles or whatever, Feast of Trumpets, the fall festivals, the fall feast days. Then it goes to this Passover, next fall, Passover, next fall, Passover, next fall, Passover. So that is 3.5 years. That's John, who's not on the same page as anybody. But ask anybody, how long was Jesus' ministry? They say 3.5 years because you're going by John, who doesn't match anything. Anyway, so whether it's 1 year or 3 years, my point is Paul didn't spend no time. Peter spent all this time. He's the disciple. He's personally trained in by Jesus. Graduated from Jesus school with Jesus. You know what I mean? He was there. Paul never met him, but Paul is putting Peter in his place. Does anybody else just see how ridiculous that is? Anyway, it is Paul. Who resisted Peter at Antioch and withstood him to the face? Well, it wasn't God. It wasn't Jesus. It wasn't the Jews. It was Paul. Am I right? Maybe not. Maybe I don't know. Huh? Was it? Did I pick Paul? Nah, that's Paul. That's an easy one. Because it's so ridiculous how Paul would be putting the disciples in there. And he did, not just Peter. Paul is telling John, his brother James, and Peter, he's trying to put them in their place. Them, Jesus' disciples. Remember, when Jesus died, what did he say? It is finished. All right, well, Paul's got more. And Paul's got new stuff. And Paul went to where'd he go for 17 years to live with the monks or something? I can't remember. Anyway, but he's gone, comes back, enlightened. Anyway. Yeah, maybe I won't go over Paul. He just annoys me. It just is so annoying because everybody sides with Paul against Jesus and against. Okay, so if you call yourself a Christian, you're supposed to follow Jesus. Well, Paul doesn't follow Jesus. Paul has a new religion. And everybody will side with Jesus over Paul, they'll side with Paul over Jesus, and they'll side with Paul over any of the disciples. Am I the only one that sees that's crazy? Like, if you have to pick between what Jesus said and what Paul said, everybody will pick what Paul said. And if you have to pick between what Peter said and Paul said, everybody will pick Paul. If you had to pick what John said and Paul said, they'll pick Paul. Every time they pick Paul, who never even met Jesus, unless you believe he's met him on a desert place, which Jesus, what was the last thing he said? One of the last things Jesus said, okay, I'm going to die now. I'm going to go away. And if anybody comes and says, hey, I seen Jesus in a deserted place, don't believe him. Believe him not. Where did Paul say that he met Jesus after he died? In a deserted place. Anyway, exactly where they met Paul, in a deserted place. Anyway, I got a mosquito or something in here. Maybe it's just a mark. For 800 points. Ooh, they're getting harder. What epistle contains an entire chapter in which the resurrection, Christ, and the believers is described at length? The resurrection. I got mosquitoes or maybe. The resurrection. Well, not Romans, because that's where he's writing to. He's writing ahead to the people in Rome because he's on his way. And he rambles a lot in that one. I don't think that one. 1 Corinthians, 2 Thessalonians, 1 Timothy. Oh, it's 2 Thessalonians. Ding, 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 ding. Do we pick 2 Thessalonians? You know why? With a shout and a sound of a trumpet, bodies will rise and blah, blah, blah. I think it's the 2 Thessalonians. Oh, not correct. What is it? Oh, 1 Corinthians. Oh, yeah. They both have prophecy of the end times. Because it's not Romans, because that's a letter to Rome that he's writing on his way to be tried. It's not 1 Timothy, because that's about a whole different subject. But 1 Corinthians and 2 Thessalonians both have your end time stuff, like where people get the idea that there's a rapture. Which, by the way, the rapture theory, the hypothesis, whatever you want to call it, that idea didn't even come up till just like a few decades ago. Or maybe it was 100 years ago. I don't even think it was less than 100 years. I forgot who it was, but anyway, it's not even that old. So here's for $1,000. Ooh, they're getting tough. And I'll tell you why they get tough. It's not really that these questions are getting harder. What they're doing is putting two answers that are so close together, which is what makes it hard. Because both of those kind of could have been right. I guess the Corinthians might tell more. The complete end times, according to Paul, for 1,000 points. What epistle closes with the words, all that are with me salute thee. Greet them. Oh, this is a John letter. No, not a dear John. Greet them that love us in faith. Grace be with you all. Amen. Ooh. That is a hard one. And they're getting tricky because they put a first and second Timothy here. So it makes you think it's got to be one of the Timothys. Is it Philemon? I don't think it's Philemon. That's where the escaped slave or whatever, isn't it? Isn't Philemon where his slave escapes and he tells him to go back and the guy gets killed? Thanks. Anyway, Titus? Nah. He was asking Titus for something else. It has got to be 1st or 2nd Timothy. Seems like a trick. I'll say 2nd Timothy. This is just a guess. Like I said, we haven't gone a deep diving into Paul for a few years. Incorrect. Which one is it? Titus. Yeah, Titus. Yeah. What else we got? That is a lot of. There's a lot of Paul. Exodus and wandering the wilderness. Should we go back to the beginning, huh? Geography of the New Testament, prophets of God, Isaiah to Malachi, teachings of Jesus, parables of the Messiah. Those are fun. Geography. Do we just have geography right here? Geography of the New Testament. Geography. That seems like redundant. Let's go wilderness and the wandering, because that's the opposite end of the Bible. We'll go way back to the beginning. We'll go back to the front of the Bible. Let's do 200, Exodus and wilderness wandering. Exodus. Oh, are they going to ask for quails again? The Lord instructed Moses to speak to the rock. Oh, yeah. Actually, you know what? There are 2 versions of this. And hence, wasn't it Meribah? Yeah, there's 2 parts. There's 2 different versions of this. Lord instructed Moses to speak to the rock. In fact, and hence it would bring forth water. However, Moses dissipate. Instead, Moses, this is easy. He struck the rock with his rod, because there's actually 2 versions of this. And this is why Moses didn't get into the promised land. Just for this. After all they went through, this is what keeps them out of the promised land. Oh, man. After 40 years of going through all that hell. And anyway. But yeah, there is. That's at Meribah, right? Is it Meribah? Is that the place they call Meribah, the place of the rock or something? But he cursed the rock 7 times? No. He struck the rock with his rod? Yes. He lifted up his rod towards heaven? No. Slapped the rock with his hand? No, he struck the rock with the rod. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, that's what he struck the rock. Yeah, it is correct. Yeah, because of that. You know, I think it's so weird. It's like, for that, he got kept out of the promised land. He could stand on the mountain and look at it, but now you're going to die. You don't get to go there. You can look at it right before you die. That's it. You know what else is where I think is kind of short-tempered of God? The God that they're worshiping. I'm not saying my God, but the God they're worshiping. I don't know if it was Yahweh or which one it was. Jehovah, I can't remember, but like God said, don't touch the Ark of the Covenant, and then the thing starts to tip over, and somebody goes to touch it with their hand as a natural instinct, and they get struck dead. Like, dude, if something's tipping over, yeah, you're gonna reach out and try to grab it. Anyway, Exodus and wilderness wandering for 400. It just seems so weird how they got put to death for that. I think they should have gotten some kind of a pat on the back. Actually tried to stop from tipping over. All right. Where is that ark anyway? Did Indiana Jones ever find that doggone ark? All right. For 400 points or dollars, what was the first of the 10 plagues that fell upon Egypt? Oh, to go in order. River turned to blood, darkness for 3 days, frogs covered the land. The frogs is funny. For the part in the frogs, I always love that part. So many frogs came into the land that they were going into people's houses and up on their beds even. Boils on men and beasts. That is a hard one. I never remember what order they went in. I don't know. I'm going to guess river turned to blood. Because, yeah, oddly enough, that people could copy it. So anyway, I don't know. And I think at the beginning they could copy them because they were a little easier. Let's see. I don't know. Anybody got a guess? I'm going to say you can guess on your own. I don't know. Can't remember what order they went in. Frogs wasn't the first, though, I don't think. Boils, maybe boils. But I think it's river turned to blood. I don't know. I can't remember which one came first. Yeah, it is. Ding, ding, ding. River turned to blood. Because it was the easier one that they could copy. I mean, not easier. They actually, have you seen the rivers turn red? I don't know. Are they doing that? I don't know. I seen that years ago. Entire rivers turn red. I don't know. Somebody said they put in a 2-liter bottle of red dye. Are you kidding? A rapid river that goes hundreds of miles is going to be red from 2-liter bottle? I don't know. Sounds suspect. All right. Ooh, getting harder. $600 wilderness wandering for 600 per point. 600 points. Wilderness wandering. Come on. Oh, a bug in here. What name was given? Oh. Oh. Man, we just heard this. What name was given to the place in the wilderness where the Israelites found bitter waters and murmured? We just went over this. Just what? Yesterday? Oh my goodness. This week. Mara, Migdal, Kadesh, Baal, Peor. Oh. Man, we just went over this. We just went over this same subject. We just went over Migdal and we just went over Baal Peor. Mara, Kadesh. We just went over all these. All right, you guys can guess on your own. Oh, man. Found waters. So they always name the place after like what happened there. So when they murmured, the word is going to mean murmured or complained. So, or it's going to mean bitter water. It's going to mean bitter water and complaining or so. So I don't think it's Baal Peor because that's Baal. That's the god Baal. We just went over that a few weeks ago too. Baal Peor is the Baal that was worshipped in that area. So I don't think it's that. Kadesh, I don't know. Migdal may be. Mara. Oh, I think it starts with the M. I don't know. This is a hard one. I'm going to shot in the dark. I'm going to say Migdal. I think it starts with the M. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't think I'd be right. Mara. That's what it is. Started with the M. I was thinking Meribah, but that is the place of the rock. Meribah is the place of the rock. And Mara. Huh. Anyway, yeah, it started with the M. That's all I remember. Because we just went over that. Oh, and this is going to be a hard one. Didn't we just do the $800 one? Didn't we just do the $800 one? That felt like an $800 question. All right. 800 points. Name the Levite who left his first estate by seeking the priesthood, having despised the service of God, the service which God had appointed him to. Korah, I think it was Korah. Wasn't he the the rebellion one. Abihu, Nadab, Kohath. I think it's Korah, because they rebelled. I think it's Korah. And then the sons of Korah were the ones that wrote some of the Psalms. Korah rebelled, I know that. I'm going to take a wild guess and say Korah. That is correct, Korah. Ding, ding, ding. Because Korah, remember the rebellion of Korah? And then if you read some of the, about half of the Psalms were written by David, King David, but the other half are written by other people. And sons of Korah are some of them. So you'll see at the beginning of the Psalm, it'll say written by the sons of Korah or whatever. All right. Oh, it's going to be hard. $1,000. All right. Did I not hit that? Yeah, I did. It's a slow poke. Oh, this is going to be a hard one. Who did Joshua want Moses to rebuke because they prophesied in the camp? Who did Joshua want Moses to rebuke? Korah and Dathan? Eldad and Medad? Abiram and Dathan? Oh, get out of there. Nadab and Abihu. I want to say Korah and Dathan, but I'm thinking Nadab and Abihu. What do you guys think? Guess on your own. Who did Joshua want Moses to rebuke? So who did Joshua tell Moses to rebuke because they prophesied in the camp? I'm going to take a wild guess and say Nadab and Abihu. Because I don't remember anybody named Eldad and Medad and Abiram and Dathan. You know what though? This is hard. I really do want to say Korah and Dathan. Or Abiram and Dathan. I don't know. I think Dathan was one of them. I don't know though. Well, guess. No, who was it? Eldad and Medad. Someone I don't even remember. All right, that was it. The $1,000 ones are hard because they give you look at how they give you the guesses. They all look exactly alike. So that's how they get harder. They make the questions so the answers so close to each other. I'm going to do one more category real quick. Teachings of Jesus parables. Let's do that. Oops. Teachings of Jesus parables. $200. Jesus taught his disciples to pray for all the following things except God's kingdom to come, forgiveness, and abode in heaven, daily bread. I think don't pray for God. Wait. Kingdom come, that will be done. And abode in heaven, daily bread. This should be an easy one, but he told him to pray for forgiveness and give us this day our daily bread. Give us our trespasses. God kingdom is because I want to say God's kingdom to come, but he warned to don't pray for the tribulation or something like that. I don't know. This should be an easy one. Tell him not to pray for. I don't know. And abode in heaven. Don't pray for a house in heaven. I don't know. I don't know. A weird question. What is the answer? An abode in heaven. Don't pray for a house in heaven. Huh. Don't pray for a house in heaven. Interesting. Teachings of Jesus for 400. Where are we here? Oh, there. Well, $400. What did Jesus forbid some of his disciples from telling others about until after his resurrection? His Father's kingdom, his healing of the deaf and dumb, vision of the transfiguration, acceptance of the Gentiles. This is an easy one. I think we've heard this question before. The vision. Don't tell them about this. Don't tell them about the Father's kingdom. The healing of the deaf. Actually, he told the guy that he healed. Was it a cripple guy or can't? Was it? No, it was a blind guy. Yeah, it was a blind guy because they drilled him. They brought him and his parents in the court. The parents like, hey, he's old enough to answer his own question. They didn't want to get. Remember, but Jesus told him, don't tell anybody when he healed him. He was blind from birth. They dragged and they say, how did you get your sight back? Anyway, Jesus said, don't say anything. And the guy instantly said, Jesus did it. Well, I don't know his name, but he's out there. Anyway, parents backed up like, hey, he's old enough. We're not getting involved. They didn't want, because if you get excommunicated, it's just like any church. If it's the only church in town, you're screwed. Anyway. So what did Jesus forbid to tell everybody until after his resurrection? I think it's a vision of the transfiguration. Ding, ding, ding. It is correct. Remember on Mount, well, that's another one that they have two different names for the mountain. I think in Mount Moriah, wasn't it, where the transfiguration was? I can't remember. Where he went up there and it was, again, Peter's always getting in trouble. It was Peter, John, and James, I think, his brother. And they saw Moses and God, Jesus talking to Moses and Elijah. And when he came back, they said, we're going to build an altar for each one of you. And Jesus like, no, you're not. Bad idea. Peter. He's like the Gilligan. You know what I mean? Always getting in trouble. Anyway, yeah, got scolded for that idea. No, there ain't going to be no altars built. All right, teachings of Jesus for 600. All right. What was Jesus's favorite title for himself? Son of Man, Son of God, Teacher, the Christ. Son of Man is probably said the most amount of times, which is funny because it's Ben Adam. The Hebrew is Ben Adam, which means son of man, which means a human being. People think son of man means that you're Jesus or something, that you're like God's only child or something. No, son of man just means a human being. Comes from the word Ben, B-E-N means son. Ben means son. Adam, Adam, Adam and Eve. Adam means man. So it means Ben, Adam means son of man. And that's what Jesus got called a lot. Son of God. Anybody that's a believer, and according to the New Testament, is the son of God. Well, part of the Old Testament too, I don't know. That's kind of the thing, the feel. Teacher, he did. Now, see, this is tricky because they said, what was Jesus' favorite title for himself? Okay, do we have to do a count? Because he got called all these things. He got called the Christ. Well, no. One time in the whole 4 Gospels was he ever close to being called the Christ. That was in John, written way after the other Gospels. And it was the Samaritan woman at the well. Because the Gospel of John is the only one that turns Jesus into God. In case anybody doesn't know, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, this first gospel's written, do not have Jesus God, except for, the virgin birth, which was added to the original Mark. Mark is the original gospel. Mark does not have a virgin birth. Jesus isn't God. It's just, he's just a man coming down from where he's born. Let's see. So really, and then Mark, it did nothing about his birth and childhood. So it's just Jesus is according to Mark, the original story, the Gospel of Mark, Jesus was just a man that was just a regular man that did a ministry, was very angry with the temple because the temple had turned God's house into a slaughterhouse, which is, just a house of shredders, a den of shredders. It translates into a den of thieves, but it's actually a den of shredders is the original. The original said a den of shredders. You've turned my house into a den of shredders. So this is tricky. What was Jesus' favorite title for himself? I don't know, because he's Son of Man, Son of God, Teacher, and the Christ. But the only time he got called Christ was in John, the Gospel of John. That was the Samaritan woman at the well. And she said, oh, we're waiting at the very end before he went to stay with them for a few days. But she said her last words in the conversation was, she said, oh, we're waiting because there's Samaritans. And she said, we're waiting for the Messiah. And in John, there's only 3 words. He says, I am he. That's it. That's the closest you're going to get to Jesus being the Christ, being called Christ. But when you get, because Christ just means anointed. And there can be a lot of people anointed. But anyway, he didn't call himself the Messiah, you know what I mean? But anyway, and John is about the closest, so I don't know. John also calls Jesus a rabbi. And they say rabbi, which means teacher. No, it doesn't. Number one, the word rabbi wasn't even around when Jesus was walking the earth. The term rabbi didn't even come around until about 90 AD. Way into the end of the 1st century. They just made up that term so that just shows you how old how late the book of John is. Because when Jesus walked the earth, nobody was called rabbi. And rabbi does not mean teacher. A rabbi can be a teacher. One of the things a rabbi does is teach, but that's not all he does. A rabbi can be a teacher, but a teacher can not necessarily be a rabbi. It's just like you think you're going to go into a school and that's a rabbi? No. Anyway, so the term rabbi is very new when John writes his gospel in the turn of the century. But when Jesus walked around, nobody is called rabbi. So I don't know. I'm going to say Son of Man, just as a guess. Because he's got called all these. Ding, 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 ding. But anyway, that's what I think is funny. He gets called Son of Man every 5 seconds. People think that means God or Son of God. No. Everybody, even women, are a son of man. Ben Adam is a human being. Ben Adam, son of man, human being. And I don't get how people don't catch on. He's calling himself a human being the whole time. Son of man means human being. Ben Adam, check it out. That's what he calls himself over and over and over, and people keep thinking he's calling him God. Anyway, keep going because I'm just probably should just stop. All right, I'll go one more. 800. We'll finish this up. I don't want to bore anybody. Which 800 points? Ooh, it's going to be a hard one. Which of the following parables was not used by Jesus? The Great Supper. Foolish virgins, building a tower, good and bad grapes. Parable. I don't remember any parable about a great supper. Foolish version, 5 wise, 5 foolish. That's the easy one. Building a tower. Are they talking about building on a rock or sand? Good and bad grapes. Now that's an easy one. Can you get good wine from bad grapes or bad grapes from good wine or something like that? I don't know. I don't remember any parable about a great supper. Is it just too late for me? I don't remember. I don't know. I'm getting tired. I drove 200 miles today and I had a long day, so I'm tired. I'm just going to say great supper. I don't remember any great supper, but maybe there was a bunch of great suppers and I'm just too tired. All right, what was it? Bad grapes? Oh, good and bad grapes. I don't know about that. Can you get good wine from bad grapes? Maybe that wasn't a parable. See, it's tricky because he did say that. Can you get good wine from bad grapes or good fruit from a bad tree? Or do I even go for the $1,000 one? I don't know. But yeah, I drove in I had to though. I had to drive all the way down to the Twin Cities today, down to St. Paul. And in Labor Day traffic. Worst day I could have been. Worst day I could have been on the highway today. They're all coming up here. So yeah, bumper to bumper on the way back. Great going down there, but coming back. So anyway, I've been gone all day and anyway, a little tired, maybe not on top of my game. So let's keep going. This is going to be a hard one though. It's going to be a hard one. Jesus said, "To whom?" Oh, this is easy. This is $1,000 question. Is this a trick? To whom much is given, the same loveth much. I mean, is this a trick? Because this can't be $1,000 question. Jesus said, "To whom much is." Well, look, you know what he's talking about. I know exactly what he's talking about. In Luke, when when okay, so he tells this story. This has got to be it. When he tells the story about this guy who owed another guy money. He owed him a lot of money. And the guy was going to beat him and put him in prison. The guy said, I'm sorry. Just please forgive me. And then the guy said, okay. I mean, he gave a huge debt from the guy. And then that guy that got forgiven went and saw somebody owed him a few bucks. And he was going to beat him down. And he said, I just forgave you a lot. And you can't forgive him for a little. Anyway, so that's where this comes from. To whom much is forgiven, the same loveth much. This just seems too easy, but I'm going to say much. Because to whom little is forgiven, the same loveth little. Why would he say that? To whom sin is forgiven, the same greatly loveth. Much iniquity. All right. And this seems like a trick question. It seems just too easy. Is it just a trick question? It's too easy. All right. This seems too easy. No, it was. It's a trick question. Oh, well, must not be talking about that story because remember he said, to whom much is forgiven. Oh, it's just like this. Much sin greatly. To whom sin is forgiven, the same loveth a lot or greatly. All right. That was a hard one. The $1,000 ones are always hard. And they're a trick question too, because there is a time where Jesus says, to whom much. What did he say? Because it was about that guy that got forgave a lot. The guy gave him a pass on a whole bunch of money he got owed because he was going to beat him up, put him in prison. And he forgave him for that debt because he begged. And that same guy that got forgiven, he went and saw somebody that owed him just a couple bucks. He's going to beat him down for the money after he just got forgiven a lot. And then Jesus said, to whom much is forgiven. I know what it said. To whom much is forgiven, much is like expected of you or whatever. What's it called? Much is forgiven, much is required or something like that. Anyway. Yeah, I am tired. Got up real early this morning. The guy came to drill out my septic thing that I have a tree that grows in at the end of every summer, grows into my pipe and backs the water up. And he came really early this morning and went out 110 feet and ground out the tree root for this year. Then I had to drive down to the Twin Cities, which took out another 6 hours. And anyway, so I've been a long day. I'm tired. So I'm gonna get off of here, say good night, and my dogs have a chicken dinner ready for them. I'm gonna feed them a nice dinner because they had to be home all day by themselves. And I cooked them a nice chicken dinner, and it is done. So they're gonna eat, and I'm gonna get off of here and feed my doggies. So, thanks for coming on. I hope you guys hope y'all have a great. I'm trying to think. It's Friday night. Like I said, it's been a long day, man. I had to get up really early. All right, Friday. So have a great Friday. Have an awesome Saturday. Hope to see you tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, by the way, we're going to talk about tomorrow night we're going to go over the different flood stories around the world. It seems Genesis was one of the later ones that borrowed from the earlier ones. So, but anyway, different cultures all over the world have a flood story. And anyway, we're going to go over that tomorrow. So, thank you guys for coming on. Let me see if I can, this thing will operate. Sometimes it won't. It won't turn off if it's in the holder. So, you guys will just have to live with me from now on, 24/7 live, because I can't shut it off. All right, let me try again. I think it'll go this time. There it goes. All right, well, all right, guys, we'll have a good one, and hope to see you tomorrow night. And thanks for listening. And if you're listening on the replay, thanks for listening on the replay also.